We are recording.
Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to another Zoom edition of the It Works Man show. And we're glad to have you here. You could be anywhere else in the world tonight, but you're on the Zoom with us. So that says a lot about yourself. If you're It Works distributor and or your significant other's It Works distributor and you're not in the It Works Man cave, let us know. So one of us can help you get in there. Corey, how you doing tonight, man?
Hey, man, I am good, Rob. We are down here in Florida. It is Green Carpet Week. So that's definitely exciting. Green Carpet is coming up in 2 days, something like that? Yes, Friday and Saturday. So in 2 days, countdown to Green Carpet, countdown to, getting that battery filled back up, getting it topped off, like they say. Getting the new product that's coming out, getting that announced and launched. And hanging around with, thousands, hundreds and thousands of successful, like-minded entrepreneurs, right? So I'm excited about that. We got down here a little early. So it's good stuff, man. So this is, if I had a little banner, it'd be like Green Carpet Edition. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely, man.
Also, since it's the man show, shout out to all my dads out there. We coming right off of Father's Day a few days ago, so my rookie department shirt on, So happy belated Father's Day to you, Rob, and to all the fellas watching. If you're a dad, happy Father's Day. If you know somebody has a dad, extend that to them, and also to your fathers, extend that the happy Father's Day to them. So jump right into it, man. So I guess we'll do things a little differently this week. Typically we have a guest on, but I just kind of want to focus on Green Carpet this week, right? So, listen, you guys may know this. You guys may have heard this before. I'm going to say it again. Anytime that there's an event that comes up, you need to make sure that you get there. And Rob, I'm going to throw you into this in just a sec, but I want to talk about specifically the importance of going to events, right? So I'll preface this by saying, you can download the Wired app if you don't already have it, which you guys should already have it. I know you guys watching this are all rock stars. Download the Wired app if you don't have it already, so that way you'll have access to know when events are coming up in your local town. Whether it's a one team or mission, I know, Rob, you and Missy are having one. I think it's the 30th, right?
Yeah.
The 30th, yep. So we'll be there up in PA. You got Green Carpet coming up this Friday. And there's an event that basically pops up, almost every month in your local area. And my rule of thumb that I preach to my team, and I'm sure you'll back me up with that, Rob, is that if an event's within a 4-hour drive, we make it there. 4 hours is my backyard. So if you got an event within 4 hours, make sure that you get there. So, Rob, can you talk to us a little bit about the importance of getting to events, whether it's Green Carpets or one team on missions or conferences, and then maybe a story about how coming to an event, how that changed your life?
Yeah, so it started before I was interested in this It Works thing. If it was up to me, I would have just took a little bit of the products and stayed neutral. That was my mentality earlier on. And I remember watching the kids many nights, sometimes for a whole weekend while she went to events like this, and she was very passionate and excited about these type of events. So it just had me like, she's running all this stuff, but she says it's going to help us grow our income, and she says that it's going to take this business to another level. So I'm just like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? But she was already running around doing this, and sometimes she would go so far with a group of girls to where they would have to stay overnight, just to be safe before they would come back. So I was watching things like that, and it grew to the point where, I had to take notice because them zeros started coming on the end of the check, and I'm like, okay. So then she was like, well, let's go to Florida, so I can get my badge and my award for promoting on the stage, and you can meet some of the people or whatever. I was like, whoa, not trying to meet nobody, but Florida sounds like a good idea. I'd go when I was still my anti-social type of ish. So, fast forward, we got down there and got locked into the CEO's office and got to really talking with him, and man to man, he's just like, man, you see that golf course you won last night? I paid a few million cash It's just a hobby, you know. So being down, and it was actually one of the first. It might have been the first green carpet, something like that. So, you know, that really changed my life, you know, because I mean, as a man, I don't know a man who doesn't have things they like to do as a hobby or something like us men. You know, there's different things we would pay to do and feel good about the money we spent. You know, for Mark, our CEO of It Works, is golf. You know, those are one of his things. He used to be a coach, so sports in general. But you know, owning your own sporting facility, a golf course, you know, and you know that I'm sure that was on his dream board for a long time. You know, so you know, it made me start to dream bigger. And you know, once I left that green carpet, man, I was on fire. You know, just ready to, you know, pursue our dreams, and it's changed our life so much. You know, we would be down Florida right with you guys. Our twins have intense football trainings, you know, multiple times a week. But I'm just blessed to be able to see it, to run them back and forth, and you know, she's running them back and forth, and you know, it's an amazing thing that we're able to be a part of because of It Works, you know, because sports is expensive, you know, and you know, it's just a blessing, you know, that we have this. I was talking to them about this today because they're actually freshmen going into 10th grade, so they'll be sophomores this after summer break. So, you know, just talking to them about the importance and the freedom that It Works has given us to where we're able to do a lot more than we were before. It's just a blessing, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm gonna be a little bit quiet because I'm in here with the baby right now. I don't want to wake her. But you know, the one thing that you mentioned, let me come to light. There we go. The one thing that you mentioned, man, which I think is so cool, is that like, you know, you were at one of the first green carpets, right? And to think about how, you know, the company has grown in that time frame. You know, to, you know, it being, I remember hearing the stories. I remember hearing the stories about, you know, how they would just have like, you know, one tent set up, and like the whole thing would just be in like one tent, to how they were able to, you know, go to the local convention center here. And even, you know, since we've been there, you know, they've had to actually split into 2 days, you know, like they've sold so many tickets and we've grown so big as a company, they've actually had to even split into 2 days, man. So that's an amazing thing. What I'll kind of piggyback off of you a little bit is talk to you guys about, you know, my event story, right? So I know that the first time I went to an event was actually a one team, one mission that was in basically in DC, right? And that was pretty cool because I went to that event as an emerald, right? So I had already seen the vision. You know, my wife had been doing it for like a couple months at that time. I had been in it for like a month or two around that time period. You know, so I was like, all right, look, you know, I'll go to this event because like it's the least I can do, right? They're paying me money every month, right? Like I'll just go. Now, I'm not a rah-rah kind of guy. I'm not like a, you know, I'm sitting on the edge of my seat like, oh man, oh man, oh man. You know, I'm just reserved, chill, I'm cool. You know, like my wife used to laugh at me because we'll go to a concert and like, Rob, if you ever go to a concert with me and you see me like this, I'm having a great time. I'll be at a concert just like this. And most people feels like a slow head nod, but like I'm having a great time, right? So like I'm not like a woo party kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So I went to this event, and I can't even lie, man. Like whatever that thing is, like it hit me there. And you know, at a one team mission, you know, maybe you get like 100 people, right? Like there's smaller events, maybe like 100 people. And I just remember when I walked in, I see people from, you know, all over DC, Maryland, and Virginia, right? All over the region that I live in. I see people from all different backgrounds of life, right? I see professional, you know, white collar, blue collar, you know, no collar, you know, young, old, married, single, just a mix of everything. And I remember saying to myself, like, wow, like all these people had that same vision, that same idea. We all made the same decision, right? That was crazy to me because, like, you know, originally you think that it's just something that's in your household, right? Like when you start your It Works journey, you don't know everybody. You may not even know Mike, Mark, and Pam. You know, so to see that really, like, you know, it influenced me, gave me a little bit of drive. And I remember listening to the presentation and learning about the culture of the company. I remember learning, how we got started, what our vision is, where we're going. And that really is what took my business, as my friend Mark says, to a whole nother level. Like I got on board with it. It no longer was something I was doing just to make a couple extra bucks. And be satisfied with something that I was doing to make a complete life change and completely change and affect the lives of people that were, in and around me, so that was really exciting for me as well. So I'm just, hey, listen, we are coming up on 5 years. It'll be 5 years for us in business come November. We go to all these events, man. Like, I was telling Trees earlier, I'm like, babe, we gonna have to buy a property down here in Florida because, we in Florida 2 weeks out the year at least. We might as well come more often and take advantage of some of this sun, man. So, yeah, man. So events are definitely good stuff, man. Good stuff and good times. So I guess we kind of jumped around a little bit from like our traditional, kind of like man show flow and whatnot. But let's talk to though. Hold on one second. Hey. Thank you. Sorry, I got a house full of diamonds. I know this is so cold, but we got some ladies over. Oh, she's pregnant. It's okay. You got your pregnant belly. We got some more over here. We got these freshly minted diamonds, these leaders. So like I was saying, so let's talk to the guys that are watching this that maybe aren't in the business yet, or maybe they're trying to get into the business. So what would you say to somebody, Rob, that is, maybe on this call for the first time, maybe got invited to this call from somebody?
Okay. My best advice would just be to, do your research, look at some of the guys on here, whether it's myself, Corey, actually get into the man cave, do your research and watch how, we're living it, where it's a part of our lives, check out our stores. You can find some of this stuff, on YouTube and things. There's multiple man shows, on YouTube. We've been doing this for several years now. You can go back and listen to some of the calls and listen to some of the testimonies. Like, this is the real deal. We ain't got time to sit up here and fabricate. It's the real deal. And it's really changing our lives. You cash a check, right? There's no faking that. You know what I'm saying? So I would say just keep your mind open, because people tend to fear what they don't understand. So, there's going to be a lot of people who still ignorant, oh, that's a girl's thing, or, oh, those things don't work. And I could say the same thing about, a temp job, or a job where you're hired and fired, or a job where you think you had it and then you train your replacement and they replace you. Those things don't work either. And in 2017, very few people are going to be working for the next 40 years at the same place. I had a relative of mine, he had his job since I've been born. I'll be 34 this year. And about 2 years ago, he lost it, had to start over. They just let him go, whether he was just too high up and they had to pay him too much money for what he knows, or they'd rather bring some young cats in who they can just temp out and give no benefits, no sick leave, no nothing, and just throw them to the side when they need them. That's what more companies are doing these days. So the only thing you have is what you create. You can't fire yourself, but you can hire yourself. So, I would take a look at the history. Do your Googles on the CEO. I just love, how genuine our CEO is. He took the time to talk with me when I was in doubt. And, all the things he said to me, have came true. He said we were going big places, and we had. He said this would change our life. We stuck with it, and it did. But and one thing I'll say to any women who are listening, don't drag a dude along. If he ain't ready, he ain't ready. But I can tell you one thing: you can't half step in this business and then expect, whether it's your significant other, your sister, your cousin, your mother, whoever you're trying to show this opportunity to. You can't half step in it and expect them to join and get busy and be interested. You got to come in, you got to blow it up, you got to go hard. You got to show them the worth and the value, because that's what my lady did. If she didn't go hard and show me the value, I can't say I would be interested in it to this day beyond taking the products. And who knows where we would be today. We sure wouldn't be living in the place that we do. We sure wouldn't have the car out front that we do. All these things have changed our lives. So, if wise man once said, never take a chance, you never had a chance. Take a chance. That's all I can say.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I'll kind of piggyback off that a little bit. So, excuse me. Like I mentioned to you guys earlier, we're coming up on 5 years in business, right? So if I was able to hop back in a time machine and put you guys in my shoes, or put you guys in my method of thinking 5 years ago, I was good, right? Like, I had a job, I worked for Verizon, made 6 figures, my wife has a master's degree. You would think on a service level, we wouldn't need, anything extra. We wouldn't need something like this, right? But the truth of the matter is, something like this was exactly what we need, right? And I'm just so thankful that we were humble enough to see that, and had faith enough to work it through to see what this can become. Listen, I started this business to make an extra $500 a month. Like, that was my entire everything. I was like, man, I can just make an extra $500. Like, that'll be everything for me, right? Like, I wouldn't ask for anything. I wouldn't even want 501. Just give me 500 and I'm good. So in that 4.5 years time that we've been in this business, to make way more than $500 is a blessing. To be able to earn enough money for both of us to retire from our full-time jobs. I've been retired for 2 years. My wife has been retired for maybe like 3 years, going on 4 years, something like that, right? Like, that's insane, right? We've been able to pay off, a huge amount of debt, and that debt was like, weight on your shoulder, dragging you down, crippling to you, right? That's the kind of debt that, when the phone rings and you don't know the number, you don't answer kind of debt, right? So to be able to, do something like this and be able to pay that off, to have a full-time job, to every one of those ladies that you just saw, like, just by the fact of us, the decision that we made, it's been able to help them. It's been able to help hundreds and thousands of others as well. That's an amazing feeling. So it's crazy, man. This business has literally been like, one of the best things that's ever happened to me, right? And none of it was expected. I didn't come into this looking for it. And the other thing I'll kind of mention to you as well, like, hey, we do these man calls for a reason, right? And we do these man calls because, when I started, I thought I was the only guy in this business, right? And I was totally cool with that, right? Like, I don't mind it. It's fine with me, right? Like, that's not like a deal breaker, right? I don't have like an ego issue with it. And, so, Rob, you were doing these, long before you partnered with me, and include me in this. But, we do these every month because we want to give guys the voice in this business. We want to show you that, hey, there are dudes that are doing this business, right? Like, we're not just tag along spouses. Like, we're fully active members in this business. We enroll, we post, we blitz, we team train, we build, we do all, like, if there's a list of functions that a distributor does, we do. We want to encourage you fellow men, you fellow guys, that, hey, you can do that as well, So yeah, money's green. Money doesn't have only women can do this, only men can do this. The way I look at it, to be honest with you, man, I love it, man. Like, I can do this business with my family. When I did Verizon, I couldn't do this business with my family. You know what I mean? That was something that I did over here. She was not included. So if it's business, it's something that we both can do together. What's even more important, Rob, you can probably relate this a little more if your son's older, but I have tomorrow I have a 8-month-old, but like, I get to spend all my time with her. You know what I mean? I get to show her, and she's watching she's seeing mommy and daddy as entrepreneurs and business owners. You know, like there's no, you know, like she doesn't have to have the stress and the weight and the guilt that money brings to children, right? And what I mean by that is, you know, hey, listen, not everyone grows up having everything they want, right? Some people's stories are harder and tougher than others, right? Um, but you know, she's not going to say, "It's okay, guys. I don't want this pair of shoes or this dog because I know that you don't have the money to afford it." Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, so to be able to one eliminate that from her vocabulary, and to be able to expand her vocabulary, like not limiting it, but expand it to something larger, to say you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like, shoot, in 5, 6 years, if she wants a pony, dang it, she can get a pony if she wants. I don't know what that pony's gonna live. That's a whole other story. But if she wanted one, she could have one. Settle for like another dog or something like that. So, yeah, man, I just want to empower and encourage you guys. Hey, you guys can do this. There's a place for you in this business. We're shining examples of that. We're both, full-time dads, full-time family guys, full-time business owners. So you can follow in those same footsteps.
I just want to say, like, also, I mean, Corey, you always say this on, at least every other man call. You always say, hey, no one cares as much about the bills in your house like you do. So, with that being said, if your significant other or whatever invited you on this call, let's say you walked into the room and she was like this, I'll call you back. You'll be like, who's that? What's going on? So the same logic should apply, that if she started something that she's excited about, that she's spending a lot of time on, you should want to know what's going on. Because when that money comes in, you don't want to know, maybe you won't care. You just go spend the money, whatever the case may be. You should, as the man of your house, you should want to know what's going on. Take a chance, find out what this is all about. Get to one of the nearest events near you. If it happens to be one of the It Works events, it's an excuse to go to Florida. If you live up here where we live at, Corey and I, it's an excuse to get to some warm weather, when it starts to get a little cold out. And right now it's the summertime, but we got to travel several hours to get to a beach around here. So it's an excuse to get to a nice beach. Some of the beaches down there where Corey's staying, we stay sometime, and it's one of the beaches is one of the top beaches in the world. So it's an excuse to do some traveling. It's an excuse to just see some things. You should want to experience some things in life. They interview. I was watching a documentary where they interviewed people that are in their 90s, very up in age, don't know how much time they got left. And separately, none of these people knew each other, but a lot of them said the same thing. They asked them, they said, if you could rewind your life back, what would you have done different? And majority of them, about 90% of them, had the same answer. They said, I worked too much. I would have took time to travel, see different things. I would have took time to actually live my life more than trying to earn a living. That's a given. You're going to create bills. You got stuff to pay. That's obvious. That's till you leave here. But taking the time to actually live a life, not just create one, but to live a life. So that's all a regret most of them had. They wish they would have took the time to see some things, to actually live their life and enjoy their life.
Well said, man. Well said. So we're not going to hold you guys up too long tonight. So real quick, if you are a It Works distributor or your spouse is a It Works distributor, I'm talking to the fellas here. So if you're an It Works distributor or you are the spouse of an It Works distributor and you're not yet in the man cave, send myself or Rob a message or a friend request. We'll be able to get you added into the It Works man cave group just for us guys. Whether you are a distributor yourself or you are the spouse of a distributor, you're welcome to be a part of that support group. We do these calls every third Wednesday of the month at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The replay for YouTube will go up on Rob's channel, on my channel, probably no later than tomorrow, maybe even tonight. Depends on how long this video takes to upload. We're live on Facebook, so I know we're live on Rob's page, live on mine. If you have someone that wasn't able to attend live, or you have someone that you want to get this message to, don't hesitate to tag them in it. Also, don't hesitate to click the over button and go back to some of the previous months. Like I said, we've been doing this for a long time, so there's a ton of information, a ton of calls available for us guys to help support us and for us to be successful in this business. So I'll close with this. Any guy who's watching that's coming to green carpet, don't hesitate to give me a shout, give me a holler. Let's take a picture together. Let's fist pound, high five, all that good stuff, man. I love to see us guys in the business. Like I mentioned, the Not the Man Show call. Not the Man Show group. Send us a message and we'll get you added into it. Otherwise than that, man, sky's the limit for you. Just make money, change our lives, live a good life, and not be one of those people in our 90s saying, I wish I would have been able to do this. This is an opportunity. So see it for what it is, do it, and see where it takes you. So that's all we got for you tonight. Rob, appreciate it as always. And I look forward to seeing you real soon. I look forward to calling with you again.
Good night, guys.